Hi, welcome to my channel again. So today I'll be making a modern homopolymorphic works on DC. Thank you. Nah man, just kidding. I'm just playing with you. So let's actually make the motor. So now the materials that we'll be needing to make it is a round magnet or like this, and some two safety pins and some wires, and you have to use a thin copper wire like this, or you can use a thick copper wire. You can use anything. Now and that's it. And the 12 volts up at 200, and so what I mentioned, like you have to use enamel copper wire, and you can use 3 to 12 volts. So now let's get started. So in order to make the motor, if you are using a copper wire that's this thin, you have to use a smaller rounder object like this battery. So now I have to wind it like clockwise or anti-clockwise. You can wind in any direction. You have to wind 10 to 15 turns. If you don't go above that, and if you go above that, this thin wire cannot handle the weight of the coil. So now let's start. So as you can, wait a minute. I'll be winding it 15 turns. Now watch. 1, 2, I just found just 10 turns of enamel copper wire. Now let's cut it. Just take it out. And now what you have to do is take this copper wire like this, and then now you have to put it around the loop, and what you have to do is like 3 to 4 times so the copper wire doesn't unwind itself. So watch it. And you have to also do this to the other side like this. And now we have made the rotor. This part will be the spinning the rotor of the motor, and this will be spinning. So now I will just align it so it can stabilize itself like this. Now it's done. And now what you have to do is you have to cut the excess wire. So you just need like this much of copper wire. Now we'll just cut it on both sides, so just the right. Yes. And it's almost finished. Now it's time to make the brushes that will switch the magnetic field of this coil, so it will spin. Now what you have to do is you have to take a safety pin and put a wire like this, so the electricity can pass through this pin to the rotor. Okay, now you have to also do this to this. You have to do this to both of the pins like this. And now what you have to do is you have to put it in the magnet like this. You can see this put in like this. And now it's time to make the commutators that will be in the rotor. So this is the rotor, right guys? It's the rotor, right? So what I have to do is I'll just loop it in like this. I'll have to scrape the enamel wire so the current can pass through it. Like this. So I have to take copper wire And only make sure, remember, you have to use enamel copper. The bad copper wire will not work on this project. You have to scrape. You have to hold it like this, and then you have to just scrape the top part off like this. And make sure to do this to the other side, so it will work. And now it's done. And make sure to straighten the coil, so make sure it's symmetrical, so the motor so the coil doesn't go like this. So just align it. Wait, I will cut the video. Now, as you can see, I have made the rotor and the commutator successfully. Now, what I have to do is, I have to take the two safety pins that I have made earlier, and then I'll put it like this, and then wait a second. You have to put the rotor across the safety pins like this. Yeah, and that's it. It's almost done. And now we just have to give this power. And also, you will have to make if you want the motor to spin fast with extra torque, but it will only handle up to 3 volts. You have to use a thicker copper wire like this. Now you have to wind this thicker copper wire in a big round body, so it can distribute the magnetic field evenly. And make sure that you don't use something like this small. If you use something this small, it will not work. You have to use something like big like this. You have to wind 10 to 20 turns. So I'm just gonna wind it 17 turns. You can wind it any way you want. Just go like this. I have around 19 turns of enamel copper wire in here. So now you have to take it out, and also you have to loop this coil around this coil so the windings don't unwind themselves. So I have to do it like this. And I have now I have to scrape off the enamel of the copper wire. And remember, you have to just scrape only half of the copper enamel coating. Just scraping it. Now that I have made the rotor and the commutator, now let's power both of these things, because I forgot to mention the important thing. If you're using this copper wire, you have to at least apply it from 3 volt to 12 volt. But if you're using this, you don't exceed 3 volts, because you might wonder why this copper coil can handle up to 12 volts. Because the reason is, you can see that this copper wire is super thin, so when the 12 volt is flowing through this, it will limit the current to limit the current to the adaptations, and it will it will spin fast, but it will not have as much as torque as this. So then that's it. So now let's power both of these things. Now you can see the motor, homoplar motor that is working. Just a thinner coil of the DC motor. I'm using a 12 volt supply from seeing this capacitor right here. So the motor is spinning. When it comes to a time when there is no current flowing through it, the capacitor will get charged and it will discharge when the current again flows through it. So that will give this motor more ampere, so it can spin fast. Now I'll be using this thick that I wound using is 3.7 volt battery right here. And now I have powered the thicker coil that I have wound before with 3.7 volt lithium battery ion, and that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.